MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, how's everybody going? How we doing? Hope everybody had a good weekend. Mess up, accidentally turned off the mic. Trying to get all my audio stuff together. Sort of an interesting start to today's session. We had a significant weekend gap down. Immediately recovered that. Now we're just kind of hanging out sideways. Not a whole lot has happened. Just some neutral structure from a PR perspective, a power range perspective. NQ is just hanging out north of the power range. Kind of hovering the PR high. Find a supply at the PR plus 1. Kind of drop that down to 13. Is that 860-ish in that range? Let's just see where this takes us. The other indices are, when I looked at them in the pre-market, there are PRTH. They had more of they were lifting their supply. What most refer to as, like bullish structure. Get a feel of I made some adjustments to my stream deck over the weekend. Just some minor stuff, but I still gotta those little minor adjustments. Gotta make sure I get a feel of the new setup. So right now we're seeing an inventory lift off of A1. Took this down to some automation at 850. I did get a scalp in the area, but it was just I actually ended up catching some slippage on some volatility, so it didn't give me a whole lot. We're starting to go back deep into that supply zone. A little bit of momentum. I can look over. I pulled up ES and it's kind of following suit. Pushing through the overnight high. still going. Pushed through that overnight high pretty easily. I mean, it was sort of a quick retest, but I would expect more of a retest than that. Doesn't necessarily have to happen. But it is coming back down to that overnight high. Peeking his head back inside the range. We're getting some inventory off of that retest. Pretty much the inventory zone at 880. Sort of an expected, negotiating response here. Definitely can see this going in either direction. Looking mostly at the inventory here. At that overnight high, so far it's holding. We're starting to go back into that supply, making a test, an attempt to lift the supply. There's the supply lift. Kind of stalled there, but I can see it continuing. It's taking its time to get up there. Had to settle out some participation. There's the continuation. Now we get into momentum. From a daily perspective, we are making our way back to, we're getting this supply response near the highs of last Thursday and Friday. On Thursday, we had that strong supply response to break us above a key long-term level. So like today's session was kind of at the beginning, overnight was kind of printing like it wanted to retest that key level at 13,737. We got this inventory response here at the open. Looks like across the board. I can see ES is still sharing the sentiment. And I just missed my entry while I'm talking too much. I was expressing that idea. Hit a trigger and I kind of wasn't paying attention to, I was looking for a trigger. I missed that one. Hindsight Capital says I didn't miss much by the way that it printed, but it's kind of an irrelevant point. This makes me feel better about missing it, if I'm being honest. Ever still trying to make its way into higher supply. There's another supply lift after taking a quick supply response to what was the session high. We're still lifting the session high. Right now, it looks like we're not going to have too much of anything that's going to slow down the supply run, at least for a while. Eventually, it will take a break and find a new mean, find a new place to set up shop. You got A1 hanging out at 13,900, right above that whole number. Of course, it's going to keep following price. At this point, personally, I would like a significant pullback. It's also interesting that we got some, from the standpoint that we got some economic news this week. I think tomorrow's what, PMI, and then Thursday we got GDP. Of course, that's, you know, that kind of stuff is used as an excuse to get things going. Basically, the way that I use it, I done said this like a million times, but you know, just to say it again. You know, I use that economic news just as a point of awareness to potential volatility. I'm not really seeing it how it's referred to as like the reason something happened. I would say like the reason was set up to make it appear as if the news had an effect on price action when it was already pre-planned. So we did make our way back down for getting some bit of a response here in A1, inside of A1. We did have a quick inventory response around 914, dropping that down inside of A1, took it all the way to 904, seeing inventory responses inside of A1. The A1 cloud still dropping the inventory, and this is the retracement that I was looking for. See how low we go. Still dropping the inventory. Took us back to 900. Looks like we want to settle out here now. Be interesting if we get a supply response here at 910. We're still gonna lift the supply. All right, so our main supply is at 920. I did get a trigger down there around 900, but it hit my stop loss before it actually took off. Those things happen. What I had to learn the hard way was to, again, going back to consistency. Because I've had times, of course, having those times where it hits your stop loss before it goes into the direction that you're trying to trade in. It's kind of like just part of the business. And I've tried it to where, I've tried to make adjustments to that. And every single time, well, I ain't gonna say every single, but in the big picture, what would happen, I realized that it was just better for me to just stick to the original stop loss plan, the original plan that I had set in, and just let it stop me out quickly versus trying to make an adjustment and not get hit by those stop losses, those quick stop losses. And because a lot of times when I try to make that adjustment and maybe open up my stop loss, make it have a wider stop loss, or try to get a read instead of just actually taking a loss. The small loss, I end up taking a bigger loss 9 times out of 10. So while stuff like this, it can be frustrating, you know. It happens, and for me, it's just been better to stick to my risk management plan, even though it may mean that I have to miss a move like that. So another thing that I could have did there though was take the loss, and if it went back to my original trigger, I could have took the trigger again. I think I made a video about that, of re-entering in after if you take a quick loss. Yep. That's a good way to put it, Bob. So we got that retracement that I was looking for, and it quickly went back right into the momentum. Continue right back into the supply run. We should be into new daily highs from this, micro perspective. We are a long ways away from our all-time high, of course, but structurally we are making new daily highs. It's, with the way these markets are printing, interesting to hear people that still holding on to like a bear sentiment, and I think that we're supposed to be, for whatever reason, making, selling off or crashing, whatever they think is supposed to happen. And I had to learn a long time ago to not have a bias, or if I have a bias, my bias is irrelevant, right? So I try not to, of course, I try to be neutral as possible and just flow with the market. For me, it's not that hard to just kind of go with the flow of things, because it's in my personality to just go with the flow. But it is interesting to hear when people get stuck on biases and they just don't want to accept what's happening right in front of them. Now, could we eventually find a significant supply zone, a significant supply area, which takes us into a strong inventory run, or a strong inventory push or drop, however you want to, say that? Sure, that can happen, but right now, everything is going up. So, it does make sense to kind of take advantage of that and then be willing to adjust when things turn around. I also get that it's easier for some of us, kind of as I've already alluded to, it's easier for some of us to just go with the flow versus trying to have a bias and then sticking to that bias, trying to predict where things are going to go. But to me, I've always seen that to be a pointless endeavor in this environment that I have no control over. Only thing I control is how I participate in this environment. So I want to focus on the things that I can control. I can't control where price goes, but I can control how I react to when price makes a move based on my perspective, the patterns and the things that I recognize, and what holds truth for me. we had my B-force break. I did get another trigger there, but we came back into A1, picking up, finding some inventory here. Mechanically at around 933. Coming down into the 4-minute mark before B period, before the B period transition. Just this point of awareness that does not mean that anything significant has to happen as we transition over to the B period. But there are times where I've seen the volatility spike either at that transition or roughly before it, so a few minutes before it, or a few seconds before it. So that was one reason for me to set the rule there for what I'm doing personally, right? But it's also a good time for me to take a break and let things settle in and make sure that I'm still locked in like I'm supposed to. That's actually been a bigger benefit for me, is to give myself because my strategy, I'm usually, like today, it's not so much, but usually I'm just, constantly making trades and getting, having triggers and having things to respond to. Where, I need to be locked into the charts. I'm only here for no more than an hour. So it's not difficult for me to really focus in on the charts and watch things move around and, build my experience and all that stuff. But having this 5-minute-ish B-force break is what I call it. It helps me to kind of, give myself a break, an intra-session break, and reset and make sure I'm still locked in like I need to be. That was the inventory drop down to roughly 925, taking us below A1. We did have some quick inventory before here at 925, and we're catching some more inventory in that area. Still trading mechanically. Bringing the supply back up into A1. If I really zoom in, if I really want to get micro in this analysis, then I could say that we did have a quick supply response at 932 with prices negotiating, giving us about a 10-point range for our inventory and supply. Less than a minute before B period. That gave me a trigger short. we are inside of we have transitioned over into the B period. And by the way, all that printed from this tick perspective, as I'm viewing it, there was a board reset, kind of reset the board. Let's see where let's be looking to see where we go from here. Got some volume building right there around 937. From this tick perspective, I am seeing a drop of the supply, kind of in this markdown phase. Drop of the supply, drop of the inventory. Negotiating right here at A1. Good place for it to go in either direction. As a quick inventory at 932 that we're pushing through. Strong momentum into that 926 inventory area. Took another scalp off of that one. Now, by the way that printed, it would make sense to have some continuation. Continue to drop the inventory. But we're back inside to that 925 inventory. There's the inventory drop. Starting to see some momentum on this retracement. That was a beautiful mechanical print to kind of show us the rotation from this 1024 tick perspective. And actually, it was kind of clean up from a 3-minute perspective as well. ES is rolling over heavy. Almost back inside. What is it? Let me see. ES has rolled over back inside this overnight range. Starting to show a strong inventory response or inventory run. sort of pausing for the calls here, but I am seeing it. I'm still I can get my words out. I'm still reading this markdown phase where we're dropping the inventory and the supply. Mechanically holding the supply at PR plus 2 at the 920 area. There's another inventory push. Still trading mechanically. Maintaining this frequency to where the structure to where we'll drop the inventory, then have a strong inventory response, bring us back near supply, and then it'll give us a supply response at a lower level. It's gonna happen one more time. So I'm just looking to see when this pace, when NQ changes its pace. This is printing in a way where it would appear as if wholesale is just collecting inventory, and then they're balancing their budgeting on the way down as they collect cheaper inventory. So we're gonna collect some inventory, sell some of it off, get more, increase our budget, get more of a budget for some cheaper inventory. We're gonna find that cheaper inventory, and then we're gonna go and sell some of it off, and we're just gonna budget our way down into this cheaper inventory. So now we're getting that strong push. It's really going for the cheap stuff. That's just from the wholesale perspective. And this is what I would typically refer to as that predator price action. However, my read was on the right side of it. If I hadn't decided to take my last trade, that last trade that I took, to really capitalize there. This brings up another another point of awareness, to where, how the importance of maintaining awareness. Like I've become aware to habits that I've developed, and one of those habits is to where I've kind of mentally, psychologically got myself into where I'm used to being done after 10 o'clock my time. So maybe I'll take 1 or 2 more trades, but I've already kind of mentally checked out. And I think that comes from before, when I would get most of my trades in that A period between 9:30 to 10, when the market was kind of gave us a bit more, there was more participation in that time frame. So I've started to realize that I've kind of got accustomed to that, and I work toward it. The result is I won't even look for trades after 10. So last week I did kind of make a point to kind of address that, and I had times where there were days where I did just take trades deep into my trade window, simply just to not, to get out of that habit. But it's easy to kind of fall back into habits, which is why I brought up this whole thing, because I did notice that today I took that last trade, and it wasn't even a matter of the P&L or anything. It was just that I just had like a psychological or mental trigger to just be done for the day. And there's a nice inventory response once we drop back inside of that overnight range below PR plus 1. Mechanical inventory response off of an automation point at roughly 865. Took us back above VWAP, back above that overnight high. For another mechanical response to an automation point above at around 905. We got that supply response. Kind of got a zone with right here at 905 to 910. I want to see what happens. We did get it, as I said it. I wanted to see what happens if price goes back above 905. Briefly touched 908. Fell back into for another inventory response into that 910 supply. We're kind of setting up wholesale to setting up shop here at the whole number. The low of this inventory at this point. So there's a couple inventory points that I can see, but the highest inventory, I would say the low of it is around roughly 895 till about 900. And we got A1 here, also in that range, in that zone, where we're getting that inventory response. It's a nice little trigger there. That I wasn't prepared to take, because I was saying all that in preparation to close up the shop for the day, but it is what it is. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and shut things down for the day. I hope everybody else have a good rest of your day. Appreciate the comment, Bob. Lets me know that the information that I share off of all of my experience. We come on here, we share our experience and our perspective, and we wonder if it's actually helping, and stuff like that lets me know that it is. So I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. And with all that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week. And until the next time, trade it easy.